Every year, over 1 million New Zealanders volunteer their time and dedication to better our communities.
It's a real new experience for me, so it's great for me and for the kids that I help.
These generous volunteers help out across New Zealand in over 100,000 charitable organisations.
It's just a job I just look forward to doing every week. I just can't wait for Friday.
Working hand in hand, these volunteers shape our communities and future generations.
For a lot of volunteers, it's just having that opportunity to be able to contribute, to make a difference somewhere.
The generosity of New Zealand is world-renowned, and with such a large amount of people volunteering, the need to organise and mobilise these volunteers has become essential.
We're at Waikaraka Park today. Not only am I the CEO of Volunteering Auckland, but I also do voluntary work.
At the helm of Volunteering Auckland is Cheryl Martin, who has over 14 years' experience in the volunteering field.
I've had a number of different voluntary roles over the years, and the one that I'm currently with is actually at the Waikaraka Park Speedway. I'm the race results runner. This is my first season as a volunteer. Transponder number is 5298. All the race results come through from the box at the other end of the track, and I have to get them signed off by Speedway New Zealand as being official and then post them downstairs for the drivers. Waikaraka Park is Speedway, where people like me who are a bit of petrol heads can get involved. I'm just going to get ready now because I'm going to take my car out onto the track for a couple of laps, just as a bit of a practice. I started as a volunteer. I was at university doing a degree in ancient history and philosophy. Saw the ad in the paper for Auckland Volunteer Centre, so I went along and I got convinced that volunteering for the volunteer centre was probably going to suit my skills best. So I started there the next day on the 19th of September 1995, and within 6 months they asked me to run the place.
Volunteering Auckland is a not-for-profit organisation promoting and supporting volunteering to individuals, organisations and the community within the Greater Auckland region.
So we have about 40 people that help us over the week run the office. We have 2 paid staff, and the rest of our staff are all volunteers.
Volunteering Auckland was started as a charitable trust in 1990 under the name of Auckland Volunteer Centre. It was set up by a founding group of people who had interests within the non-profit sector.
They realised that Auckland needed its own central hub or resource for supporting those that worked with volunteers, the volunteer coordinators, and a central resource for a place for people to go to find somewhere to volunteer.
It's early morning at the Auckland Zoo and there are many hungry animals to feed. In fact, the Auckland Zoo is home to over 1,300 animals, and that means lots of volunteers with lots of work to do. Today is a very special day. It's National Volunteer Day, and the staff of State Insurance have arrived to volunteer their services to Auckland Zoo.
We have corporate groups that have volunteer days, and they like to come out for a day to help out run the zoo, so we usually just see what we've got going, what projects we might have, and get them to assist in that way.
Today about 29 people have come down from state, and we're basically just doing a volunteer day at the zoo today. And so as you can see, our group's doing the wallaby enclosure, so we're basically weeding the wallaby enclosure today, and there's a couple of groups doing some other activities out and about. Thought we'll play our part, and we kind of got a big group together and thought, well, why don't we do, go do something that we can obviously help out at, but also have fun at the same time. And the zoo kind of seemed a logical answer, Yeah, no, it's heaps of fun. Everyone's getting really into it.
The Auckland Zoo has 170 volunteers with up to 20 people helping out on any given day. The zoo is a mammoth operation and volunteers can be found in all areas of the zoo. One of the most popular attractions at the zoo is the giraffes. Without the volunteers, the keeper wouldn't have time to educate the public.
I've been volunteering at the Auckland Zoo for 7 years now, and to begin with I was just a roving volunteer, but now I work on the Pridelands section. I just do a lot of the keeper duties and help them out, and I come up here every Friday and help with the giraffe encounter and help control the crowds and help kids feed the giraffe.
The volunteers help the keeper by handing out the food.
No, the keeper will let you know when you're allowed to go in, okay?
I really want to help with the conservation of animals in the wild, and being a volunteer at the zoo is just my way of being able to do a little bit for conservation and helping people become aware that these are wild animals in captivity and we have to look after their habitat. Okay guys, we'll just leave this door closed for the time being, and if you stay to the left, that'll be great. I've been doing it now for 7 years. It's one of the most satisfying volunteering jobs that there is. No pay, but immense rewards. It's just a job I just look forward to doing every week. I just can't wait for Friday. It's the best day of the week. I love it.
Hi, I'm Katrina. How are you?
Shivani.
When the person arrives for their appointment, it's a volunteer that greets them and helps them with, if they need it, with filling out the registration forms.
It operates like an employment agency, and we find jobs for people, but I'm a volunteer, the staff are all volunteers, and the clients who come in are looking for a job which is a voluntary job.
The interviewer, who will have a chat with them for up to an hour about what it is they want and why, and that person is also a volunteer and makes the referral for the individual to one of our member agencies. And now we just have all sorts of volunteers coming through.
There are a variety of choices available to volunteers, and many organisations provide training.
Volunteering Auckland, Christine speaking. What is very satisfying is people coming in and being able to give them a job, and being able to give them a job which sometimes suits their needs or prescription. Oh, how nice of you to call back. Yes, we've organised an appointment for you. It can be a stepping stone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Why not step up your skills?
People volunteer for quite a number of reasons. For example, for the students, it's needing to find something practical that aligns to their course of study. For those that aren't working, it's needing to find something that will give them the skills that a future employer wants.
Volunteers assist in many community projects, but also help out in a variety of fields. Even sailing has a dedicated group called Sailability.
Sailability is a great organisation because it's so different. Being able to volunteer out on the water, for those that absolutely love boats, being able to volunteer their time and their skills to help give an experience to people who would generally not have that is just an awesome way that people volunteer.
In New Zealand, Sailability was started in 1990 to assist and promote sailing for disabled individuals. Current chairman Brendan Terrell volunteers his time to Sailability Auckland.
Sailability wouldn't be able to function without our volunteers. We rely on them hugely. The committee itself is majority run by people with disabilities. That's why we rely on able-bodied volunteers so much. They do all our heavy work and day-to-day setting out of the boats, getting the boats ready for the sailors, helping the sailors get in the boats.
Experienced sailor Nicky Lehman is one of Sailability's volunteers. He developed a passion for sailing from a very young age. Today, Nicky is setting up the boats for some of Sailability's members so they can get out on the water.
I was basically raised around boats. I think the first time I was out on a boat, my old man used the nappies to bind up a burst water hose. So boating all my life, power boats, sailing boats. I have a small number of boats myself and get out sailing quite regularly. I first heard about Sailability through a canoe club that I was joined a couple of years back, and they just put a little notice in the newsletter asking for volunteers. At that stage they were looking for people just to help out with the general boat handling, putting boats in and out of the water, getting people in and out of boats, getting the boats out to the sailing course.
I've always been really interested in sailing and boats and anything water, and I've sort of dabbled a bit with kayaking. Always been really addicted to it, but no one in my family's been into sailing, so really for me to have any involvement in sailing, the only way was to actually join some sort of sailing group, and because of my limitations, I finally actually found out about sailability and joined them.
When we have a sailor like Helena, who has virtually no arms, she straps this control box to her chest and she can operate it with just her hands from there, and it enables her to sail an entire boat.
Instead of actually having to manually handle ropes, which I find quite hard because I don't fit sailing gloves or anything like that, basically you're using a toggle switch to sheet in and sheet out, and the same with the steering. You've got a toggle goes the opposite way for steering instead of having to trying to cope with the tiller.
I've just been really excited and really encouraged by the resourcefulness of people with disabilities. The fact that they may have some disadvantage or they may not be able to do things the way that able-bodied people can hasn't stopped them from doing it. And people have said, yeah, I want to do this, I can do this, let's figure out how we can make it happen.